Hi everyone, this is a quick demo video on how to use the content system you've built in Ditto everywhere your team might be writing content. And today we're going to cover Figma, Claude Code, and a pull request. So first up is Figma. Say I'm redesigning the onboarding flow for a sample banking app called Ditto Pay. I'm going to be working on both the web and the desktop versions of the mockups and setting up an onboarding flow where I'm asking users what's their first name, what's their last name, that type of thing. What I'm going to do is open Ditto's plugin, which has access to the content system we've already set up in Ditto, but also the screens themselves and the whole flow in Figma so it can understand the content in context. And as I work, Ditto is going to check my copy against our system and surface any inconsistencies or potential improvements. So here is an example. I use the term active in the success state message at the end of the onboarding flow, but our preferred term is actually live. So Ditto is suggesting an edit. I can accept that and it'll get applied right here in the design. So that is Figma. And now let's see how our same system functions in code. So I could hand an agent our entire style guide, but then it would have to sift through the whole thing, figure out what applies where, and that's where things start to get unreliable. So instead what I'm going to do is run another Ditto tool in our code base, which is this pull command you can see here. And that tool is going to embed our content system directly in the code, right next to the design system components that they apply to. So take this callout component as an example. These files here define how to build that visually, kind of separate from anything Ditto did. But then Ditto has added this other file, which defines how the copy inside the callout component should be written, with the relevant rules, the text layers that exist inside the callout component, and relevant content patterns. So now the design system and the content system are living side by side. So when an agent builds a feature with this component, it doesn't have to search a giant file to figure out what's relevant. It's already right there. So now let's actually build something. I have this sample app here called DPay, and I'm going to use Claude Code. I want to add support for international transfers. So I'm going to enter in this prompt, build support for international transfers. And it's going to take a second to build. So I'm going to go ahead and just let it run as quickly as it can. And we'll just have to wait here quickly for it to finish. And yep, okay, and here we go. Here's the output. Because our content system was right there in the code, Claude Code was able to pick up exactly what it needed. It adhered to these guidelines from our content system, things like structuring currency in a certain way, or using the term transfer throughout and not send. And then it was also able to reuse 6 pieces of existing Ditto copy that it found in our system instead of generating all that stuff from scratch. And now you can see that finished feature in our product here with the tabs now for domestic versus international. So that is Claude Code. And then the one last thing I want to show is how to use your content system in something like a pull request. So here's a PR for adding a confirmation page. And you can see here the Ditto bot got added via this label when this PR got opened. And it automatically ran through and checked all the copy it found against our system and then left comments with suggestions for any inconsistencies it found. So you can see it found a bunch of different things, some things that are consistent with our style guide, and then also some text we already have that should be reused instead of whatever was generated anew. So for example, instead of writing your payment was processed successfully, we should just reuse something we've written before, which is your payment was successful. And all of this happened in GitHub at the point of PR review, so right before this code is actually merged and shipped to production. So we just saw 3 places our system can govern work. So that is Figma, the code base, and a pull request. And in this case, Figma and the code base were at the point of generation, and the pull requests were after that. So that is it. That is the whole demo. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.